A lot of politicians and gun control advocates will tell you that a magazine ban is worth it, even if it just saves one life. But what if a magazine ban costs a life?
There is no diminution of your ability to physically protect yourself having 10 clips in a round. Having 10 rounds in a clip instead of 30 or 40 rounds.
I film at a lot of places in the US, but I find that California is one of the most challenging. Here recently, I made the comments on my Facebook and Twitter fan pages that I'd be filming at a private range at Big Bear. It's about an hour and a half down a four-wheel drive trail, completely surrounded by forest, and after seeing the $1 million reward for Chris Dorner, I made the joke that if anybody wanted to join us out there to search for him for the next couple of days, they were more than welcome to go. The first day went by with nothing out of the ordinary happening, but on the second day, we noticed an increasing amount of aircraft activity and gunshots being fired in the background. Keep in mind, it's not completely out of the ordinary to hear gunshots because you can shoot in certain areas. After filming a couple of explosions that you can see in last week's video, we caught the attention of an aircraft. I thought it was just a Cessna, so I kept focusing on setting up the next shot. But as it buzzed overhead, my camera guy informed me that it didn't have windows or was a drone. Now, I know what a Predator and a Reaper look like, and it didn't look anything like that, but I decided we should pack up our stuff and call it a wrap. As soon as I finished storing the last piece of equipment, a black SUV pulled up. Two sheriff's deputies got out, one with an AK, one with an M4. Now, normally you don't see law enforcement get out of their vehicles with a firearm, and I could tell they were a little bit on edge, but they were really respectful with their questions. They asked me if I knew what was going on, and I just assumed that they were hunting for Dorner, so I said yes, but I had no idea that there was a shootout going on. He told me that a murder suspect could be coming down the ridge less than a mile above us, that we needed to get the hell out of there. He said there would be a roadblock when we got back to the pavement and that there wouldn't be any law enforcement on the road for the entire hour and a half there, and that he would radio ahead to let them know we were on our way. He also said if we see a guy with a gun to run his ass over. Now, I left out a few adjectives there, but you get the point. Being that I have firearms and ammo, I asked the officer if we should be armed. He hesitated. 10 seconds. You should be fine. I don't know about you guys, but I don't deal with should be fine when it comes to my family, or my friend's safety. Again, he prompted us to drive as fast as we could to the roadblock and not stop for anyone. At this point, we get in the vehicle and my camera guy in the passenger seat is extremely nervous. I'm the only person in this truck who can operate a pistol or rifle effectively and safely, as well as being the only person who knows these trails and who can get us to the roadblock. At this point, some of you might be justifiably scared, nervous, or concerned. I was pissed. Understand the situation for a second. This murder suspect had rifles that were not California compliant. They were illegal in the state of California. He had standard capacity 30-round magazines. He had cans on his rifles to make them quieter. He did not have bullet buttons on his rifles, all of which law-abiding citizens in the state of California cannot have. They are illegal. Did the laws stop him from obtaining them? No. Do laws stop criminals from breaking the law? No. Did the sheriff's deputies have bullet buttons on their rifles? No. Did the sheriff's deputies have standard capacity 30-round magazines? Take a guess. Some of you still might not understand the severity of the situation. This trail is full of choke points, creek crossings, ditches, perfect opportunities for someone wanting to take advantage of a slow-moving target. In the event of a shootout, the highest probability of use would be my AR-15 rifle. This is my California-compliant AR-15. Now, in the event of a shootout, I'd have to take a round out of my magazine, stick a bullet in the bullet button so that I can engage the magazine release, pull the magazine out, take an additional magazine, stick that in, and then pull the bullet out of the bullet button so that the magazine release will engage. All those steps to go from an unloaded to a loaded rifle, and I'm still at 2/3 the capacity of a standard 30-round magazine. I was put in a significant disadvantage by the state of California's laws and a bunch of gun-regulating idiots who put my life and my crews in danger. At this point, some of you might be saying, well, you shouldn't have been out there. This is our property. This is private property. This is where I film. If there's a criminal potentially in your area, do you stop working? Do you leave your home? If so, LA would be a ghost town. Nobody would ever be at work or ever be at home. 99.9% of you will never be in a situation where you have that much law enforcement coming to support you. We had LAPD with armored personnel carriers en route, Sheriff's Department, park rangers, Homeland Security was out there. Hundreds and hundreds of law enforcement were en route, but nobody was there to protect us if our lives were in danger. It was up to us. Now ask yourself this. If you were in my passenger seat, would you still want those laws in place? Technology is progressing at a rate that our laws can't keep up. If there was a nationwide ban on 30-round magazines, criminals could just use a 3D printer to make all of them that they need. New York has restricted the low-capacity magazines. If a criminal wants a 15 or 20-round magazine, all they have to do is print it. The only people that aren't going to have them are law-abiding citizens. So we made the hour-and-a-half drive in 50 minutes, wreaking total havoc on my truck. When we got to the paved road, there was this huge roadblock set up there, and I put my truck in park, cut the ignition off, put my hands up on the wheel, waited for one of the officers to approach. He asked if there was anybody else in the truck. I told him no, but the very next thing that I told him was I needed to inform you that I have a loaded firearm on me. I also have other loaded firearms in my truck. He said, that's fine. I need to search the back of your truck to make sure there's nobody else in there. I said, that's fine. Kept my hands on the wheel. He went back there, said I was good to go and everything. So we pulled through the roadblock. And as soon as we got through there and everything, we noticed that they had all these guys on rifles with scoped optics watching every move that we made. As soon as we got to the paved section of the road, there was Homeland Security, there was Sheriff's Department, there was a ton of law enforcement set up out there, and asked if we could unload our firearms and properly store them for transporting. And they said, there's a lot of uneasy cops here. You might want to do it elsewhere. So that was pretty much the end of the day for us. We ended up sitting in a ton of traffic trying to get off the mountain and everything. With all the bad PR that some of the law enforcement got over those few days, I actually had a really positive experience with them, with potentially really tense situations, with me having loaded firearms. Everything went really smooth. So I've talked about certain hypothetical situations in the past where gun regulation could potentially do more harm than good. Hopefully through my real life situation, you all will be able to see that these emotional and irrational laws being passed, like the magazine restriction in Colorado, will do nothing but potentially harm law-abiding citizens. Criminals will still have a means to obtain or make them. Law enforcement will still have them, but that will do you no good if they arrive after you needed help. Don't stand by idle and let these laws get passed. Do your homework, educate yourself, and in the words of Double Barrel Biden,
make your voices heard. This outfit, this town listens when people rise up and speak.
Spending that goo-goo money?
Yeah.